You scrape enough things off enough miles of asphalt, you get numb. That's the job, mostly. Numbness. People see the truck, the flashing yellows late at night. Maybe they shudder, think about death for a second, then drive on. They don't think about the details. The smell that clings to your clothes no matter how many times you wash them. The sound a shovel makes against pavement when you're scraping up something that used to be alive. The sheer variety of ways things can get messy when flesh and bone meet a couple tons of speeding metal. Deer are the most common, obviously. Stupid, beautiful animals with zero road sense. Raccoons, possums, sometimes a fox if you're further out. Dogs and cats, too, closer to town. Those are the worst. You see the collar? You know someone's heart is breaking somewhere. But even that, you learn to compartmentalize. You see fluids, tissue, bone fragments. You don't see fluffy. You see a job that needs doing. Get it off the road before it causes another accident. Hose it down. Move on. The numbness is a shield. You need it. Out here in the dark. Alone. Dealing with the messy end of things. I thought I'd seen it all. Every kind of impact. Every level of gore. Thought nothing could really get under my skin anymore. Then came that call. Tuesday night. Or maybe early Wednesday morning, technically. Around 2 a.m. Dispatch sounded bored. Like usual. Got a call? Multiple animals down. Route 9. Just past mile marker 47. Caller said, maybe coyotes? Sounded shook up. Said it was a mess. Multiple coyotes? Odd. Usually, they're smart enough to avoid becoming pavement pizza, especially a whole pack. Maybe mange? Disease making them slow? Stupid? Sounded like a long night, whatever it was. Route 9 out past marker 47 is desolate. Nothing but thick woods crowding the shoulder on both sides. No houses for miles. Cell service spotty at best. Deep country darkness. I geared up, filled the sprayer tank, checked the spotlights on the flatbed. Just another call. Headed out, sipping lukewarm coffee, radio playing low. The usual routine. Miles of empty highway unspooled in my headlights. The only marker of civilization was the rhythmic thump-thump of the tires over the tar strips. Pulled up past marker 47. Slowed down, scanning the beam of my roof-mounted spots across the asphalt ahead. And there they were. Not one, not two. 5. 5 dark shapes sprawled across both lanes. Coyotes, all right. Good-sized ones, too. Looked like a whole family group. My first thought was, damn, someone must have plowed right through them at speed. Gonna be nasty. I parked the truck, angled the lights to illuminate the scene. Hazard yellows painting streaks on the trees. Got out, pulling on my heavy gloves, grabbing the shovel and the big squeegee. The air was still, cold, carrying the faint coppery tang of blood, but fainter than I expected for 5 impacts. Strange. I walked closer, boots crunching softly on the road grit. The first coyote lay near the center line, not mangled like I expected from a high-speed hit, not flattened or twisted into impossible shapes. It was torn, like ripped open. Its belly cavity gaped, steaming faintly in the cold air, mostly empty. Fur matted with something dark and sticky. But the bones, they didn't look shattered from impact. They looked snapped? Okay, weird. Maybe clipped by a truck mirror, spun around, then scavenged fast by something else. Possible. I moved to the next one, a few yards further down. Same thing. Torn open, viciously. But again, the underlying structure seemed wrong for a car crash. I knelt down closer, shining my handheld beam directly onto the carcass. That's when I saw the marks. On the tough hide of its neck and shoulder, clear as day under the bright light, were gouges. Deep ones. 3 parallel lines, cutting through fur and flesh right down to the bone beneath. They weren't scrapes from asphalt. They weren't shearing cuts from metal. They looked like claw marks. huge ones, wider spaced than any bear or cougar tracks I'd ever seen documented in this state. And we don't even have cougars here anymore. Not really. And the edges weren't ragged like an animal bite. They were almost clean, like something incredibly sharp had sliced through. My stomach gave a cold lurch. This wasn't right. I straightened up, suddenly hyper-aware of the silent black wall of trees just yards away on either side of the road. The woods felt suddenly deeper, darker. I swept my light across the other bodies. Same horrific damage on all 5, torn, gutted, with those same impossible deep claw-like gouges. One had its head practically ripped off, spinal column snapped clean. The sheer force involved. My brain scrambled for explanations. A pack of feral dogs, maybe? Huge ones, rabid. But dogs don't usually leave marks like this. So clean, so deep. And 5 coyotes. A healthy pack would have put up a hell of a fight. There were no signs of a struggle here, just the aftermath. Then I noticed something else. The blood. There was blood, yeah, staining the asphalt around the bodies. But no spray pattern. No arterial spurt hitting the pavement like you'd expect from a major trauma happening right here. No trail leading up to the bodies. Just pools underneath them, like they'd bled out right where they lay. And no debris. Not a shard of headlight plastic. Not a sliver of mirror glass. Not a single scrape mark on the road surface indicating a car swerving or braking hard. Nothing. Just the 5 torn bodies, arranged almost haphazardly across the pavement. My flashlight beam tracked back from the nearest coyote towards the shoulder, towards the tree line. And there it was, faint but unmistakable in the damp dirt beside the asphalt. A shallow trough, like something heavy had been dragged. Disturbed leaves, broken twigs. I followed it with the light. It led directly from the dense black undergrowth to the coyote. My blood ran cold. I swung the light to the next body. Same thing. Drag marks, leading from the woods. And the next. And the next. All 5. They hadn't been hit here. They'd been killed in there, somewhere in the darkness of the woods, by something with terrifying strength and sharp claws. And then, dragged out, placed here, arranged almost deliberately on the road. Why? The air felt suddenly heavy, oppressive. The silence from the woods wasn't empty anymore. It felt watchful. The usual detachment, the numbness I relied on, it evaporated instantly, replaced by a raw, primal fear I hadn't felt since I was a kid, afraid of the monster under the bed. My hand tightened on the shovel handle, not for scraping, but for defense. My eyes kept darting to the tree line, scanning the impenetrable blackness between the trunks, expecting to see… what? Eyes reflecting back? A hulking shape. Who… what, drags 5 dead coyotes onto a highway? The question screamed in my mind. This wasn't roadkill. This wasn't natural predation. This was something else. Something intelligent enough to kill efficiently, strong enough to move the bodies, and motivated by… what? A warning? A display? A sick kind of territorial marking? The urge to just get back in the truck, lock the doors, and drive away as fast as I could was almost overwhelming. Leave the mess. Let the county deal with it in the daylight. But it was my job, and leaving felt dangerous now. Like admitting defeat to whatever unseen thing had done this, whatever might still be out there, watching. My hands were shaking slightly as I worked. Every scrape of the shovel on the asphalt sounded unnaturally loud, echoing in the dead quiet. I kept my back to the truck, spotlights illuminating the road, trying not to look directly into the woods for too long. The smell wasn't just decay and blood. There was another faint scent underneath, Sharp, musky, unfamiliar. My skin crawled. Every snapping twig in the forest, every rustle of leaves caused by the breeze I hadn't noticed before, made me jump, spin around, heart hammering against my ribs. Getting the heavy, torn carcasses onto the flatbed was grim work, made worse by the constant prickling fear. They felt wrong. Too heavy in some parts, too light in others. I hosed down the asphalt, the water turning pinkish brown, trying to erase the scene, but knowing I couldn't erase the image burned into my brain. Those deep, clean gouges, the drag marks coming from the black woods. Driving away from that stretch of Route 9, I kept checking my mirrors, half expecting to see something keeping pace just beyond the reach of my taillights. The darkness outside the cab felt alive, predatory. The numbness was gone, completely stripped away, replaced by a cold, gnawing dread. I'd seen death countless times. But this was different. This wasn't accidental or natural. This was intentional, calculated, monstrous. And it left tracks leading right back into the familiar woods I drove past every night. I finished my shift, filed a basic report. Multiple coyote carcasses, cause undetermined, cleared from roadway. Saying nothing about the drag marks, the wounds. How could I? Who would believe me? They'd think I was crazy. But I knew what I saw. And now, every time the dispatcher calls me out late at night, especially to those lonely stretches of road bordering deep woods, my stomach clenches. The numbness doesn't come back. I just grip the wheel tighter, scan the tree line with my spotlight, and listen. Listening for something more than just the wind in the trees. Listening for the sound of something heavy being dragged onto the asphalt. Waiting.
That's all the darkness we have for you today. If you enjoyed this dive into the unsettling, be sure to like this story, subscribe to the channel for more creepy tales. Your support is very appreciated, and maybe leave a comment sharing your thoughts. We'll be back soon with another story from the shadows. Stay safe out there, and maybe check under your bed.